Welcome back, guys, to the 19th episode of the Do Your Job podcast. My name is Tyler, and it's been 7 months since we've done one of these. 7 months. I miss it. I miss it a lot. But I'm glad to be back. I really am. And I'm used to do this regularly, so I'm going to try and start that up again, do them as much as I can, and keep posting for you guys because I miss it. You guys probably miss it. And I love doing this. This is what I love to do, and we're gonna try and keep it going. I have thought of some things to make this podcast better, and just to get more people to want to watch it, and so on and so forth. So the first big thing I think is making these podcasts shorter, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, not an hour, an hour 15 like some of them were. I think that was a mistake because I don't think anyone wants to sit through it for an hour. So we're gonna try and make them a lot shorter. Like I said, 20 to 30 minutes. I think people will like that a lot more. We're also gonna start scheduling when to post these and not just random posts. So we're gonna have a time for each podcast to be posted, and I think just to know when they're gonna come out and to be able to post them whenever, film maybe one or two a day, and then post them throughout the week to have just a better schedule of posting. Besides from all this, there has been so much that has happened in the 7 months. We're just kind of going to talk about what's happened recently, and we're not going to go back 7 months because no one wants to hear about that. So we're just going to talk about recent news, and that's what every one of these podcasts are going to be like. I'm going to try. I'm really going to try for two a week. Unlike last time, it was every weekend we would do Patriot reviews. It was really just a Patriot podcast, but now we're going to try and get all four of the major sports in as much as I can. um, I'm sorry about Bruins and the Red Sox. I'm not the best about talking about it, but I'm gonna do the best I can for you guys. First off, we are gonna start with the New England Patriots, and it's not been great. Definitely not like last year. And I don't know. I think a lot of people expected it just to be like last year, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on free agents. It's not going to be like that. It's never been like that before last year. I think last year was rare, and we're not going to see that again. That was that's not like the Patriots to do. We don't spend big money on big names. We're going to let the big names go, and we're going to get the veteran guys who aren't very good for cheap money. That's what we do. I know cap space is a problem, but I don't think it's a huge problem like people make it seem like. Because you have the Chiefs out there, you have the Rams who are going out and getting big names, especially the Rams. They went out and they're just signing anyone. It's like Madden for them. They don't have much cap, but they're making it work somehow. So the cap is really weird and strange. I don't understand it. Many people don't understand it, but it's just cap. If you don't have a lot of cap, you can still go out and get those big name guys. You're just probably going to be in cap debt later on, which I don't even think that's going to happen for the Rams because cap is just non-existent anymore, really. I do expect there to be another move before free agency is over with the money saved from Shaq Mason. Oh, don't even get me started about that trade. But that did clear about 7 to 8 million in cap space, I think. So I do think there will be a move coming. I just don't think it's going to be a very good one. And the move wasn't Malcolm Butler. That money, that's pocket money. They barely paid Malcolm, and most of it is incentives. I'm pretty sure. So do expect another move to come in free agency because they did save up money, but I don't think it's going to be spent on any big guys. There's still OBJ out there. Julio Jones is still out there. Now there's the rumors of OBJ going back to Cleveland because because of Deshaun Watson. Makes sense why he wants to be there now because Baker's out. Julio Jones is always a guy. He's big. He has some speed. He's basically N'Keal Harry as a veteran. And N'Keal Harry, they wanted him to be like Julio Jones. Like he could have been like DK. He could have been like Julio, but he wasn't. He wasn't. And people still say he's gonna have potential, but I just don't think it's there anymore. So many bad years for N'Keal, and he still could have it, but I just don't see it. So personally, I wouldn't spend too much money on a guy like Julio or OBJ because they're not going to change your season. Yes, they're like receiver ones, but they're still old and they're still veterans. So they're not going to completely change your season. They might give you maybe 1 or 2 more wins than you already would have had. But I don't think it's worth spending so much money on. I think if you can get OBJ or Julio for the right price, go out and do it. On the flip side, there's been trade talks. Patriots are involved with trades. I don't know how much I believe that, but personally, I think it's worth going out if you're going to go get a guy like Tyler Lockett, who's probably the name right now to be traded on the receiver market. So if they go out and spend money on Tyler Lockett, that's a way different story. Go get the trade. Go trade for Tyler Lockett. And this season, people are going to be talking about it different because the O line is not as it's not that bad with the signing of Trent Brown back, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think the O line is fine. You can work on that in the draft, and if you get like Tyler Lockett or someone like him, you don't have to draft a receiver because Kendrick Bourne is a very solid receiver too. So is Jacoby Myers. So the receiver room isn't that bad. You just don't have that guy. So if they can get Tyler Lockett, I think he's going to be that guy, and this place will love him. So I think Tyler Lockett is a great, great trade target. I think if you can get a guy like Tyler Lockett for Mac Jones, that will help his development a lot because he doesn't really have a guy that you can say will be open 100% of the time. Well, not 100, but 99% of the time. He's just always open. He's your guy. Like, you can always count on him to be open. I think Tyler Lockett is definitely a guy like that. He's underrated, but I think he's definitely a receiver one, and going out to get Tyler Lockett would be huge. So if you can just get any guy like that, really, I think it's a big move because Mac Jones still he doesn't have the guy you can always count on. I do think Kendrick Bourne is going to take a huge step in year 2 with the Patriots. I think he ended hot last year. He was their best receiver last year, unless you want to count Hunter Henry, but I wouldn't really count that. Best wide receiver was definitely Kendrick Bourne. I think he's going to take a big jump in year 2. So Kendrick Bourne will be better. I don't think he'll get to receiver one type talk, but he definitely will be better. Besides from all that, let's talk about what the Patriots have done instead of just getting our damn hopes up for something that won't happen. Patriots have re-signed veteran safety Devin McCourty to a 1-year, $9 million deal, and I think that's great. Back for his 13th season, he's a great leader. He can definitely still contribute at safety. He definitely helps his team. He's a turnover machine in a good way. He's getting turnovers. He forces turnovers. He doesn't fumble. I said that wrong. Turnover machine. That's not what he is. He gets turnovers all the time. And 9 million 1-year deal. I think that's good. Um, he's just when you think of the leader of the team, you think Matthew Slater. You think Devin McCourty. So Devin McCourty is most definitely a great signing. 1-year deal, 9 million. That's a great signing for the Pats. After the loss of Shaq Mason and Ted Karras, the Patriots O-line was looking bad because you also had Trent Brown rumored to go to the Seahawks. That's not what you want to hear after already losing 2 starting linemen and one of the very good linemen in the league in Shaq Mason. But the Patriots have agreed to a 2-year deal with Trent Brown. Perfect. This is exactly 2 years, which is I didn't think that was going to happen. I think 1 year, like kind of prove a deal for the Pats, but they got him for 2 years. And when Brown is healthy and motivated, he's one of the better linemen in the NFL, and definitely will help Mac Jones. He is a risk, though. He is definitely a risk. I'm not sure of the money for Trent Brown, but when his availability is always in question. With the Raiders, I think his season with the Raiders before coming to the Pats was definitely not great. I think he missed a lot of games. Um, Last year he was in and out, which is not what you want to hear. But if he is healthy and motivated, he will definitely help this O-line a lot. Like I was saying earlier, the Patriots always hit on O-line in the draft. That's what they do. They miss on receivers. They miss on almost every position. I mean, like, you could have had DK. You could have had A.J. Brown. I think Debo. I don't know if Debo's thing. But they always hit on O-line. So if you can get, I think if you can get the receiver and focus on O-line and really get the best O-lineman you can, This O-line will be just fine. People need to stop freaking out about the O-line. They'll be just fine. The Patriots also re-signed their best player over the past 2 years, and Nick Folk. They signed him for 2 years. Man, he's old. He's here for another 2 years. 2 years, $5 million deal, 2.9 in guaranteed money. He's been our best player. He has been our best player by far over the past couple of years. He had a streak of 55 straight field goals within 50 yards, which starts back at the beginning of the 2020 NFL season. And he was setting records last year. You could say he was the best kicker in the league last year. I mean, you always have Justin Tucker, but Nick Folk was very, very good last year. Good signing for the Patriots, but I mean, it's just Nick Folk. He was great, but again, when you starting free agency on day one, that's not the signing you want to see, is Nick Folk. So it's a good signing. I don't think it's a day one signing though. Another deal for the Pats is old Super Bowl hero Malcolm Butler to a 2-year, $9 million deal. That is very small money for the. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's very small money for Malcolm. Very small money. I do think he's good cornerback depth. He's not going to do much. I'm pretty sure he was sort of retired last year, so I don't know what he's really going to be like. He could absolutely suck. He could. I do think he'll be. I don't think he's going to completely suck, but I don't think he's going to be great at all. So it's going to be funny. The press conferences are going to be awkward between Bill and the press. The first question is going to be, why didn't Malcolm play in 52? That's going to be the first question. It's going to be awkward. It's probably going to be awkward for Malcolm, but overall, it's a good depth signing. It's really the only signing they actually did other than re-signing their old players. We don't have too much time to keep talking about the Patriots, so we're just going to run through some other guys really, really quick. Ty Montgomery, receiver, running back, kind of like he can do both. I think he's going to be more in the running back category. I don't think he's going to be used in the receiver because they do have, I don't know how much he's going to be used. He might not even make the roster, to be honest. Juwan Bentley back, linebacker. I think this is a good signing. Led the Patriots in tackles last season with 108. He's really best in the run, stopping the run, which I think that's a great sign for the Pats too. Just a re-sign. Terrence Mitchell, cornerback. 1 year, $3 million. That's nothing. So I think he's just going to be depth again. All this depth does add up though, so it's good. Another one, Brian Hoyer. I think Brian Hoyer was a 2-year deal, $4 million. They're paying nothing. That's $3 million guaranteed though. So I think Brian definitely will help being a mentor and all that. And Matthew Slater, like I was saying about Devin McCourty, he's a leader. I think he's like a 14-time Pro Bowl or something like that. I think he will help this. He will definitely help this special teams, and he's always great to have around. Always, always, always. And I think the best re-sign for the Patriots is running back James White. We'll spend a little bit of time on this, and then we definitely got to move on. James White, before getting hurt and the 2020 season, you could have made an argument that James White was their best player in 2020. He's so reliable. He is reliable. And this is why they don't need to spend so much money on receiver. James White will be there for third down. But he's not you're not going to say he's open every time, but he is always there. He's the receiving back. He's the Brandon Bolden of last year. Him and Mac Jones are going to click. I hope so. And I think that duo will be scary. I think James White, they got him for 2 years too. We have to see how he does coming off of the injury, of course, but definitely high hopes for James White. We do have to move on to the Red Sox, Celtics, Bruins. Next week, or should say next podcast, we will get into draft talk and just more Patriots in-depth free agency. But next segment, we are going to touch on the Red Sox. So the Red Sox, I have very high hopes for the Red Sox. And Trevor, their biggest signing in a long time. Trevor Story, 6 years, $140 million. They paid. They went out and got him. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought the Red Sox were just going to sit along like they always do. Not like they always do. They used to be a team that spent. They used to go get the guys. Didn't happen last year. I did not expect this at all, let me tell you. I thought it was not going to happen. But they went out and did it. They did it. Props to them, 100%. Got Trevor Story from the Rockets. I think he will 110% be an immediate impact on this lineup and on this team. I think he's a great defensive player too. So, and he is going to play second base. So that's going to keep Xander at shortstop where he wants to be. Trevor Story at second, perfect. He is definitely a help on the bats and on the diamond. And the Red Sox hitting this year is going to be nasty. Their switch up between rights and lefts. I don't know everyone's exact right and left, but I do know it switches a lot. So late game, when they're going through the bullpen, it is going to be dangerous playing the Red Sox. It's going to be hitting right, hitting left, hitting right, hitting left. And with the 3-batter rule, it is going to be hard for other teams to pitch around that. Because you're going to have right-handed pitchers coming in, you're going to have a left-handed hitter, and you're going to have to switch that up. And then it's just going to keep going because you're going to have a right-handed hitter, and then you're going to have another left-handed hitter right after him. And in the late game, relievers only go against, well, really they're only good against right or left. So it's going to be very hard to pitch around that for other teams. Predictions for the Red Sox, they're definitely World Series hopefuls. As of last year, I think they have improved from last year. I think with Jackie Bradley hitting isn't always the best, but having him in the outfield it's kind of like not mediocre, but like just very mid hitting with outstanding defense, which I think the rest of their lineup can hit just fine. That you can have him in there, definitely. So I think Jackie Bradley helps. This lineup is great. I'm gonna get the lineup real quick. The lineup right now is sitting something like this with Kike, Devers, Xander, JD, Trevor, Alex Verdugo, Bobby, Christian Vasquez, and Jackie Bradley Jr. That's what it's probably going to look like on opening day. And that is just power everywhere. You know, Rafi, Xander, JD, Trevor, Alex, Bobby Dolbach is questionable, but he can hit. Christian Vasquez is a very underrated hitter. And you have Jackie Bradley at 9, which is where, he's probably the only one on there who cannot hit. Maybe Kike, but Kike can still hit. So Jackie Bradley is probably the only one on there who cannot hit consistently. And that's a scary lineup because he's sorry about that, but he is amazing at fielding. So having him in there is definitely worth the fielding you're going to get for him. We do have to move on and quickly talk about the Celtics, but the Red Sox have the Red Sox are currently playing right now against they just started against the Rays. Their next game is tomorrow against the Twins at 1:05 p.m. I've been waiting for this. This is probably my favorite thing to talk about right now. The Celtics, they have won I don't know, the winning streak is up to 6 or 7 right now after getting off another 9-game winning streak. I think they've won a good 23 out of their last 26, 20, 25 games. They are on a hot streak. And they are not just beating teams, they are beating up teams. They just beat the Jazz by 30 points. The Jazz are not a bad team. They can play. And the Celtics just absolutely manhandled the Jazz. It was like watching an NBA team versus a college team. This is what every game looks like for the Celtics. And if they're the 4th seed right now. Well, they're tied for the 2nd seed because the 2, 3, and 4 are all tied with the Heat at first, only a half game ahead, which is the Celtics are climbing up and fast. Jason Tatum has absolutely been tearing it up. He's moved into the MVP talk, no doubt about it. He will definitely get votes. I do not think he's going to win it, but he will definitely get votes. As for the playoffs, so it gets interesting because a lot of people won't want to play Brooklyn. But if the Celtics keep playing like this, they will be the 1 seed. That's 100%. If they keep playing like this for the rest of the season, they will be the 1 or 2 seed. And if you are the 1 or 2 seed, you have the risk of playing Brooklyn in the first series. And they can win that series. I'm not saying they can't win it because they've beat Brooklyn a number of times this year. So they can win that series. But it's just you don't really want to play Brooklyn because it's Brooklyn. They're stacked right now. And the thing is with playing Brooklyn, though, you're not going to have Kyrie playing away games. When you go to Brooklyn, you're not going to have Kyrie playing. And I do think because you will have that Kyrie effect in Boston, that will be a very heated game for those first two if you do play the Nets as the 1 or 2 seed. And I do think the Celtics will be the 1 or 2 seed. And it's kind of funny because last year the Celtics were the 8 or 7, I think, and played the Nets at the 1. And now this year it's looking to be that same thing, just switched around. So that's pretty funny. The Celtics, they have high hopes from everyone. And I just really, really am hoping they do not let us down because they have been on a tear. When this first started, I did not believe in it. I thought it was just a little 5-game win streak. I didn't think it was going to keep going. We are 30 plus games right now of them just absolutely beating up every single team they play. So if they keep this up, I have very high hopes. I'm talking finals. Like they can get to the finals. That's not a stretch anymore. You said that 1 or 2 months ago, you would have been called crazy. Right now, the Celtics, they can make the finals. That's not a stretch. They can 100% make the finals. And do I think they will? It's too early to predict that because you got the playoffs, they have to play out. So we have to see if the Celtics, first of all, continue this hot streak to the end of the season. And if they do, we have to see how the playoffs play out before you can make a finals prediction. But right now, if they keep playing like this, they can 100% make the finals. Celtics' next game is tomorrow, Sunday at 6 p.m. against the Timberwolves. Probably just going to be another win. And they do have a tough schedule coming up, but I think if they can just win, they probably will win most of those games. They will be just fine. And I think they do have to keep winning, though. They can't lose because then the race right now is so close. So they have to win like almost every game if they do want to get that 1 or 2 seed. I don't want to rely on other teams to lose. But that is it for the Celtics next game, Sunday, 6 p.m. against the Timberwolves. And now, we're going to touch very quickly on the Bruins. My apologies, I am not the hockey guy. I am not your guy to talk about hockey. I love watching it. I enjoy watching it. But I can't really talk about hockey that much. I'm not the best. But the Bruins are 11-3 since February 26th. They are also on a tear. They have moved up to third in the Atlantic Division, looking strong for the playoffs. They're winning a lot right now. They're on a hot streak. I think they're on a 5 or 6 game win streak right now, as of the Celtics. So it is fun to be a to be a Boston fan right now. Right now for the Bruins and Celtics, it's looking that both of them could potentially make a championship run, and they both need one, man. The Bruins have been getting close. The Celtics have not. The Celtics have been going downhill, and now they're uphill. The Bruins have been close. Past couple years, they've been close. Just heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak for Bruins fans. So I am very hopeful for the Bruins that they can make it all the way, but I'm not sure if this is the year. Right now, they just have to keep the momentum going and just keep winning games. And I think, I believe they can make a run. It's going to be hard, but I cannot take another playoff heartbreak from the Bruins. They've had potential for the past couple years, and they get there. They get so close, and they just let you down. That's what's been happening with the Bruins, and I cannot take another year like that. The Bruins currently lead the Islanders at the end of the first 2-1, and their next game after this is Tuesday at 7 p.m. Hold on, I gotta find out who that's against. Hold on. Against the Maple Leafs Tuesday at 7 p.m. That's gonna be a good game as always. And that is pretty much where we are gonna leave off. And I'm sorry if I've not been the best. If I've, been starting a lot. I'm nervous. I haven't done one in a while, so I got the jitters still. Figure out like just what to say, and it will all come back. It will all come back. But we are just at the 25-minute mark. I think that's a good point. I was trying to get somewhere near 20, and I did. So hoping you guys all watched the whole thing. If you didn't, that's perfectly fine as always. Just stay in for the parts you want, parts you like. Patriots, maybe it's the Celtics. Bruins, I'm sorry if it is. I can't talk much about that. But thank you all, guys, for watching. Seriously, I missed it, and I don't know right now when the next one will be, but I'm going to make a schedule. I'll let you guys know in the next podcast will be this week. I know that. There will be another one this week, and we're going to keep it going just like that. Once again, thank you guys for watching. My name is Tyler. See you guys next time.